right. So anywho, let's get it. Let's get it. So we can go ahead and start here with Gary Owens. This is a Gary. So Gary Owens is under fire. So I haven't actually watched this entire thing. So the title of the video is that um, Gary Owen under fire by black culture for his comments on Charlie Kirk and black women going after him. So if you don't understand this, let you understand why this is an issue. So whenever white men have kids with black women or have any kind of connection, any kind of romantic, excuse me, relationship to black women, especially when they're celebrities, they're seen automatically by black women as a friend in the community because he's clearly an identifiable brand that is attracted to black women. Now, I'm not saying that white men are not attracted to black women at all, but we have to have this conversation because it is a harmful thing to make a group of women think that men who have never tried to really pursue them as wives really want them. And then you'll have women online, actually making videos about how much they love Latin men. We know we didn't know that y'all want to be with us and everything. I saw a video. I wish I could find it right now on Accountable Conversation. Shout out to AC, where which is weird. Cause I'm like, what are Latin men doing to make you think that they love y'all, right? I saw a video recently on Accountability Commentaries channel where he's saying, sorry, where basically you got all these black girls on TikTok talking about how they love Mexican men. Who the wiggle what? And don't diss the Mexican people, but I've just never known people to ever fetishize of all of the Latino diaspora. I'm not saying that there's no handsome or pretty people who are Mexican, but I'm just saying like we don't. Again, then again, but I may not know who's Mexican, right? But I'm just saying that's never been a thing. I'm like, cause Mexican dudes are generally short. You know what I mean? They're generally kind of, not the most economically mobile. You know what I mean? Not the highest on the social ladder and stuff like that. So it's like, but listen, I've come to the conclusion a long time ago. The only way black women can be happy, you know what I'm saying, to be real with you, and again, it's all good. I got love for Keisha. Is that they need to be with a man that they actually like and see as a man, and they see men who are not black more like men. I think that you know they could be happier that way because I think this is going to happen regardless. That you're going to pretty much get more of a mixed race. There's going to be a lot more mixed people in the next 30 years. Now, believe it or not, now let me give you wrong. I don't know the exact numbers on it and whatnot, but I'm just saying it's gonna be more mixed people because you're gonna start seeing more black people not date each other more than ever, especially now. Because right now, we are really don't get me wrong. People are getting together, people are having sex and whatnot, but we're not really building families, and we're not really getting together and actually making anything happen. People are getting together and breaking up. And I think a part of that too is that for one, long-term consequences of female leadership, and I'm saying also men don't understand. Women are poly. You are monogamous. You are conditioned to be monogamous. Women are conditioned to be poly. All right. If you think about it. So for example, the reason why I say that is because in a woman's mind, right? If she had, especially with black women, if she had the child with you, she don't see it as, all right, well, damn, I've got married to this person, I have a child. No matter what level of commitment you have between yourself and a modern woman, especially black women, she doesn't see it as I need to stay with him, or I need to try my best to stay with him, or under these conditions I won't be with him no more. That's not really what goes on in the community. For the most part, what goes on is, all right, well, you know what? It's either, and also my other theory is the only women who really want to be in a long-term relationship is women who really get off by like being either a torturer or a destroyer. Meaning that either you want to ruin a man's life to kingdom come and make his life as hard as possible, or like by doing things that have long-term damages, like getting him sent to jail, putting him on child support. The one that they all mostly do. This hasn't happened to me as much, but either not giving the man sex or not giving him the sex he wants, but mostly kind of keeping him in this space of where he doesn't really get anything out of the relationship, and you're kind of forcing him into a relationship where he doesn't really get anything out of it. And don't get me wrong, men really love to be useful, and to the point where in these conversations we had to we've had to tell niggas, stop being a sugar daddy. Oh, the big dog right there. My dude just cash out your boy. Anyway, but yeah, we've had to tell men, and listen, and I had to come to the same conclusion myself. Listen, 6 pounds, I love the kids, but I understand the concept of, don't get me wrong, you do what works best for you, but men have to understand what they're getting themselves into. Now, if you can make a deal, now it's you may be the exception. If you can make a deal, because me personally, if I was to deal with a woman who has kids, you need to be on your best behavior, and y'all all better be in line. But which is impossible to do, so therefore I will always have an out. You know what I mean? I mean again, but cause that's really the main thing. If women had kids who were well behaved and they was cool, and you was able to pay for them kids and their daddy's paying for them, then it's not as much pressure. And also, if they go with their father, that's another thing too. Some of y'all get with women whose kids are with them all of the time. The kids never go nowhere. You'll never have time alone with them, and you can't have. That's not a reason why, like, yo, single mothers can't really be girlfriends and wives like that. It's best for you to be, or you can't really be a wife because you can't really give yourself to them. And also, by that point, especially if you meet her like later on in life, now women understood that if I'm with a new man, I'm going to have to give him a child. That's not up to me just to say no. We not. I'm not having no. I'm not having no more. But I do want you to marry me. Yo, women like I remember telling my friends that about like my ex and everything, and I always knew that it would kind of be her undoing. Now, again, which worked to my advantage because I didn't wind up in a situation where there was anything between us where like I had to always talk to her or anything permanent between us, which was like, and again, that's why when we had it really wasn't about nothing. I just figured, well, it's a freebie. You know what I mean? I'm free. she let me go. You know what I'm saying? She don't want it. You know what I mean? And that's the thing about ambitious men and men who have potential. Really, any man. So any man can have potential. But men got to realize, fam, when she does that, she gives you back uh, one of the most important assets you have, which is your time. Okay, I'm like, fam, I can't say that once I get to this level of income that I'm like, oh man, like yo, I'm gonna have a beautiful girlfriend. Like, nah, son, I got bigger things to accomplish. I have a lady friend, you know what I mean? Because I will be at the JUCO, you know what I mean? But I ain't trying to pay no high JUCO prices. I'm using handsome man's privilege. I pay a little something, but I think I ain't, you know what I mean? I ain't listen. Yeah, this nigga coach over there, and this nigga be dropping that bread on them girls, nigga. I'm like, yo, nigga, I drop a little bread, but god dog. But I'm just saying, like most men, your fantasy is to get a bunch of money to give it away. All right, but anyway, get back to the topic. Let's go ahead and walk this shit down real quick. So we got Gary Owens here. So he has black kids. He has a black ex-wife. He was in the news last year for basically talking about him being estranged from his children, and he hadn't seen his son in a real long time. And Angry Man was breaking this down because this is a situation where a parent, what they call parental alienation. So parental alienation sounds more like the child just not being in the same physical space as the parent, right? Whereas what it really means, and that's what I thought it meant, but it can mean that as well as turning the child against the parent. So this is a conversation that more men are having about the experience. I think most men, if you didn't grow up in the same household as your father, rather than letting you form your own opinion and everything, you grew up hearing negative things about your father. What y'all gotta understand is that when kids hear negative things about their parents, it has a huge impact on their sense of identity. If they don't know one of their parents, it will have a huge impact on their sense of who they are. You need both halves. And another thing too that is disturbing always is that how willing modern women are to fuck a kid up. Like real talk. I remember I heard this from AC about how like whether y'all think this way or not, you don't really care about your kids because you don't love your kids enough to want what's best for them. Meaning give them an actual home with a mother and father who love each other. You know what I'm saying? Because for the most part, I'm keeping it stacked with you. I'm not saying all these men are perfect. Some of these men are crazy. I know, but for the most part, the reason why I'm always going to say that the women are more so the problem is because like it's not that she can do that she can shoot you in the head and walk away, right? But society has mad laws for men not being men. All these family court laws are about no nigga, you go to jail for being a bad dad. Okay, it's not many women going to jail for child support. It's not many women having the cops called on them, and having the cops weaponized against them. All right, so being as though that doesn't happen, you got to ask yourselves, how can you have a good relationship with someone, right, who sees no incentive and no reason to be honest, no reason to be honorable, and no reason to even do long term thinking. Because another reason why women are so willing to break up houses and stuff like that, because of no long term thinking. But anywho, but that's parental alienation. But going to the clip with Gary Owens, so obviously he's so I have not seen this whole thing, so it's going to be a fresh reaction, and he's going to be talking about, I guess, his reaction to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I'm going to be connecting that also with a few other things, such as the death of Kevin Samuels, and death of Hulk Hogan, and death of Jerry Springer, and also what's been going on with Drake. So I'm going to kind of show you guys how I made that connection in a moment.
Right when I went to go record yesterday, Charlie Kirk got shot, and then took a couple hours, and then it came out he passed away. And at, you know, I go to X or Twitter, and that's where I heard about it. And I don't know how I came across the most graphic video I've seen. I've seen all the different angles of how he got shot. I couldn't watch this again. I'm not gonna. I've heard the same people say, I don't have to agree with your political beliefs, but this is a father. He left 2 kids behind, a wife. Yeah, we get that. I understand. Uh, my, I think the most disturbing part is whoever did this. Uh, you basically killed somebody because they had a difference of opinion than you. I'm like, Charlie wasn't in government. He wasn't in politics yet. He was about to be. I guarantee you that. There's not a doubt in my mind in less than 20 years he'd have been running for president. Again, I didn't agree with his stance on the gun law stuff. I didn't like that comment, obviously, but I don't think he should die for it.
So this is the video
Shout out
that
to Anton.
Gary Owen is getting held accountable for from the black community. Again, let me just re-emphasize exactly what he is being held accountable for having an opinion about the fact that Charlie Kirk did not deserve to die over having a opinion at 31 years old as a father of 2 children and with a wife. He did not deserve to get killed. Now that we have more information from a person that was in a relationship with a trans person that had become radicalized, and then often at times, according to all of the different people that knew him, neighbors, witnesses, and everything like that, was irrational, decided to go and kill him at an event where he was having a conversation because he was making a huge impact on the youth, and then his potential political career, which obviously wasn't even there yet. There are groups of people, specifically liberals, raging liberals and black people, that are hell-bent on making sure that they get their opinion off and get their shit off and get their rocks off about the fact that, yay, they didn't even know him, they didn't even follow him, wasn't even really familiar with him, is reciting talking points from other people that is just misquoting and taking out of context what he said. They're excited, they're getting hard, they are
Getting hard.
getting off on the idea that a man was killed on a college campus for an opinion in a place where we're supposed to have freedom of speech and no censorship.
So I'm going to stop it right there, and I'm going to make this point. Now, I said to my grandmother the other day, and she didn't disagree with me, right? And my grandmother's pretty liberal, right? And I said to her that, I forget the quote. I always make this point to illustrate my point, but it's a famous quote that goes, "I may not agree with the things that you do here, right? Or I may not agree with who you are and the things you say, but I will defend with my life your right to say it." The country is founded on freedom of speech. Okay, I'm not sure where this came from, but I'm pretty actually no, I know exactly where it came from. Yo, we know where this shit come from. This is one of the long term consequences of female leadership. If there's no one there, we have 2 or 3 generations that's full of people raised by single mothers and they struggling single mother. Unless your mother made really good money, or she came from a real good family, or she had a leg up and came into some bread maybe, or she something, some kind of great opportunity. The reality is this: if you were raised by your single mother, that's one income. Just having a one income household damages your childhood. It compromises exactly where you can grow up, what activities you can do. Bro, money matters. There's no such thing as Because black folks, until we started having these conversations a couple of years ago, that's why I mentioned the whole phase of the relationship space, and then we having the panels like La People Let's Talk and the Kevin Samuels clips and whatnot, because we just never had those conversations. The reason why Kevin Samuels even went viral was because he told the girl that was kind of ugly, you know what I mean, that, well, ma'am, you're average at best. Average meaning, and this really put a spotlight, or maybe this really exposed how much hubris, how much arrogance, how delusional most women are. And a lot of that shit comes from the fact that women sabotage by nature. They sabotage each other, especially their relationships. Women are the biggest haters, and a lot of girls will tell you their biggest haters have been women close to them. All right, or if women's attractive, most women who are attractive are very jaded, and or have a long history of betrayal, people going at you. And real talk, if you're awesome in general, it's almost impossible for people to really have love for you, because depending on where you are emotionally, listen, if someone's way better than you at something that you care about, it's hard to be mature enough to say, yo, you're really good at that, or that's amazing, or just be amazed. Like I think I'm kind of there for the most part, because I mean, but I don't know many people that made me want to hate. Yo, except my homeboy at work. Yo, my homeboy is so fly. Yo, like he got polo everything. Like I love seeing this drip. Like if I was more of a hater, I would definitely hate. I would hate on him. You know what I'm saying? Cause yo, that nigga got like unlimited fits. You know, I rarely see. You know how seldom this nigga has like the same thing on. It take this nigga like a good month or some change to wear the same thing again. You feel me? That thing got fits for days. But anywho, um, women have played. How can I say? Naive. For the most part, everything is a play for most women, especially if there's no one there to regulate that shit. Having your dad around, most of the time, you want to be in conversation. If you're a dude, you're gonna be a crappy person. Probably gonna be broke, you know, right? You're more than likely not gonna be able to solve any of your own problems and really make progress with yourself, because you'll be stuck in the emotional mindset of a young person or a child, right? And if that happens to a man, I mean, yo, listen, shit is crazy. But anywho. So I want to show a few more clips before I start kind of walking this shit down. But that all Gary Owens was saying was that this country is based off of free speech. That person had a different opinion than you, whether you agree with it or not. They don't deserve to be executed randomly by a stranger. He didn't know that person. All right, because the idea is that when ooh, hold on now. Relax, fam. I'm just surfing the web. Okay, I'll close the window. Nah, cause my Wi-Fi tripping. But anyway, so we've lost so much of a grip on reality. And a part of the reason why black people feel okay with this shit is because we also, yo, listen, we gotta also look at the other stuff that black folks think is okay. And I actually have a few videos about that real quick. So let's go ahead and look at a few of these videos. So let's go ahead and go to my history. All right, nope, let's go, nope, boom, bam, bam. Let's go right here. I think we can go. It's a good one. It's what I saw earlier. Oh yeah, here we go. Boom. Let's check this out. This is a really disturbing video.
Than one of those evil ones.
Now I'm not gonna hold you. The thing she's about to say is very disturbing. Okay? This girl's gonna say some really disturbing things, right? But at the same time, if y'all want to understand how testosterone works, I am a light-skinned African American man. This is a cute dark-skinned girl with glasses and pigtails. She knows she's wrong for making this video, but at the same time, I believe her. But I also don't focus on being deceived by the looks. I listen. I can sniff out some evil. Go ahead, girl.
And don't let the pigtails or the glasses or the braces or the voice fool you.
Yo, she got so much braces in her mouth, she can't even close her mouth. So this is kind of hot.
I am an evil, evil, evil woman. A trifling bitch, honestly. A succubus.
A succubus.
In the flesh. I pussy and then finger your sister. Trust me, I've done it before. I'm the type of bitch you
How this happen? What? That's a lot of ground to cover.
can't put nothing past. And yes, Fat Ma grips tighter than one of those Chinese finger
I snapped my
displays,
fingers.
vacuum sealed. And yes, Big Moose gets wetter than the earth when it rains.
Hold on, what? I'm okay. I was confused by it. So is one of those your mouth? Hold on, what?
For those 40 days and 40 nights.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
See, he's not going to tell you. I'm gonna tell you right now. A dude, and no, listen, no homo. A dude on this looks level, he thinks she's very. Because you gotta understand, guys, unless they've gotten a lot of really attractive women, guys who are around like this level, like aesthetically, he finds her really attractive. Okay, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but I don't know if the accent is masking it, but he is very excited right now. Okay, he's very excited. So you know,
Reference the Bible.
that nigga showing teeth.
You demon.
And yes, my throat is a bottomless cave that gives the tip a squeeze with each
Be there
stroke.
for him. With open arms and open legs and an open mouth.
Chill.
Like a starving snake swallowing its last meal. But I promise you, none of that is worth the financial ruins I will leave you in, nor the mental gymnastics you're going to have to do on a daily just to survive over here. Honestly, truly, for your safety and mine, it's best if you just leave me alone.
So we will just.
So that right there is the black woman. Shout out to AC that does the reach back. All right. So don't be fooled. This woman has been with mad white guys. Whenever you see women, like if you see black women who like wear their hair natural, women who actually grow their hair, because that hair looks somewhat like real. That look like that might be her actual hair, right? Whenever you hear these tones of these vocal tones, these are all things that black women will adopt to be more attractive to white men, especially you see the tattoos and stuff like that. And for the most part, I'm keeping it stacked with you. That's their business. But all black women have a Brad story, or more than a few Brad stories. Okay, because I'm telling you right now, that's not how a black woman who dates black men primarily even speaks. I'm gonna tell you right now, if she does any of like the white girl like aesthetic like styles and what, for example, like this became more popular now with like black girls like the ruffled socks and the frilly socks and whatnot, but primarily or like the black loafers or the black lace up shoes with like white socks, like that whole like retro look, that was more of like a white girl type of thing. Well, a lot of white girls were doing that, right? And I'm not saying it was limited to them, but that wasn't as popular in like amongst like black girls, right? Depending on where you lean in terms of your fashion aesthetic, right? But whenever you see things that you've seen, especially if it's like goth, if she's a goth black girl, definitely. A lot of times if she got glasses, usually, you know what I'm saying, has had, at least a few Brad run-ins. And when I say a Brad run-in, if you don't know, right, black women, if they ever date a white guy, at the very least, if they lucky, they just had degrading sex. I remember like when I was younger, I had a homegirl of mine. See, this is before I started catching on to like a lot of y'all have smashed like unsavory non-black men. You know what I'm saying? Or was it like a JUCO situation? Or you always hear girls like freely talk about being in a monetized dating situation where like, yo, this dude gives them money and they give them sex. You know what I mean? And now they won't tell you that necessarily, but anyway, but going back to old girl, right? And that was funny. Was girl I slept with too, and I think she was telling me about how like she like it was a white guy she slept with, and basically like yo, like he kind of like he sodomized her. Okay, like he sodomized her, right? And they real good for that. Let me tell you something right now. If you want to see like if you're into like corn or prawn where black women are like real like submissive and feminine and stuff like that, look up interracial prawn. Okay, if you want to see something like that, that's where you see the most submissive. I mean, listen. I mean, it's all fun no harm done. I'm not mad whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? I'm completely at peace. But that girl definitely is a divester, and we're gonna look at one more divester. So shout out to Only Logical, right? So he's done these breakdowns before where he's pointed out um the sex worker to divest their pipeline, right? And so we're gonna just look at.
Pro black.
I'm gonna try to jump around here, real quick, and but this right here is the, how can I say? I've told y'all before, the only time women like really keep it a stack or keep it real is when they don't realize they're telling themselves, or it's a story where they can't tell the story without including these facts, right? If women ever tell you anything that is embarrassing to them, or a bad thing that happened to them, if whatever version they're telling you, that is the censored, excuse me, in the best version they can tell that story. Because whenever women tell a story, they always tell it in a way to get you on their side. Shout out to Crimson Cure. Like she really pointed that out about how, like, you know what, like whenever women tell stories, and that's why it's hard for women to tell the truth. Because how can you tell the truth if you always tell stories in a way where you're basically in control, where you're in control of your image. I'm not saying that you need to make yourself look bad, right? But if I never want to look bad and everything, or I don't want you to think bad of me, so what happens? I'm going to wind up lying. Because that's not who human beings are. But anyway, let's get to it.
Pro woman. Pro ho divester who is also a sex worker but tries to hide it comes for black men who date younger women. Now you may be looking at the title and thinking, why did I name the video that? Well, those are her words.
Yo, when she don't have on that makeup, and no disrespect. Oh shit, hold on. I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing it. Pro black, pro woman, pro ho. So we're gonna play this first clip real quick.
She is the one that said that. I just post what they say. These divestors seem to get mad when you repost what they say. Anyway, this woman is your typical divester whore who thinks she is above other divester whores because she wears a weave and plays both sides. Let's get started.
What is up with these like 40 plus, that's being gracious, 45, 50, 55-year-old black men who are trying to reframe themselves from being called tricks for dating women, in their 20s. You're trying to reframe the narrative and flip it so you feel like you're not being used. Y'all are not fighting the allegations. And it goes to show the motive and the purpose behind all of that, all of the facade, wasn't to be deemed as a provider or this masculine type of man. It was always to grasp onto some form of control. And what better way to do that than to set these little traps for 20-year-old women to fall into, become their savior, and label yourself as a provider and a protector. Then when it's like y'all find out you're on a roster or these women are actually using you to their benefit, treating the arrangement as reciprocal rather than submitting, now y'all are resorting and scrambling, trying to label these women as beggars or broke. But like, isn't that what you want? Don't you want a broke woman so you can control a broke woman? If you wanted the woman with money and the education and everything, you would go for it.
So this verse I'm talking about right here. So all right, for first and foremost, whenever women tell a story this way, they're talking about themselves. Okay, so this is someone now. The content creator says it, but this is the kind of like pseudo sex work that a lot of women will kind of get into. They may not be someone who has a whole clientele, right? But a lot of attractive girls, and there may not be that many, and most of them ain't gonna pull it off, right? But the girls who can't pull it off, they may can get them a guy or two, right, to give them a few dollars, right? So CGA talks about this in length. So if you ever want to get more information on how the whole game goes, check out Coach Greg Adams' locals page. All right, I love that page. I pay $20 a month to be on there, and like listen, I have not thought I don't know where I'm about to unsubscribe from this shit. I don't need to see it. Man, listen, it's mostly the same shit every week, but I really enjoy watching. It's very inspirational. You know what I mean? And it's giving me a whole new idea of how to even see relationships and whatnot, right? But anywho, this is someone who participates in the monetized dating market through trying to date men with money, trying to so-called level up. And what kind of happens most is they wind up in this circle because the thing is that women don't really know how to know when to stop and don't know when to be satisfied, especially if you didn't have a healthy upbringing. Because one thing that happens is that one thing that comes with having a lack of emotional regulation, right? Not being able to control yourself, not being able to problem solve effectively, is that you don't really realize. One second. You're not able to realize when you're getting opportunities. So, for example, I always give you a good one. One of the greatest opportunities I messed up, which I messed up many as a young person, but that's at an age where I'm less mature, I have less long term thinking, and I'm more emotional, right? Um, like yo, I could have bowed Sue Surf, but I let my emotions, right, and my lack of ambition, lack of imagination, stop me from seeing the future. Because Surf was ahead of his time. There was no battle rap on YouTube like that yet. So he was trying to do that back when it wasn't really no scene. And eventually he became a part of that scene, and yo, he created a life for himself. It wasn't until like years I thought about, yo, that was crazy. Surf was really trying. Surf asked me to battle. His mans was begging me to battle him because there wasn't really no one to battle really because there wasn't battle rappers yet where you could like find a battle rapper very easily, and you still have to like find talent and create talent in order to have good battles. But back then, you had to take niggas who could just rap good and make them battle. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, he didn't really have footage like that. I remember first time I seen Surf actually rapping, like battle rapping and whatnot, that shit looked like it was in the fucking basement. I remember how loud he was rapping and how hard. Now, mind you, what he was saying wasn't that crazy necessarily because he wasn't really that good in the beginning, right? But the way he was, I'm like, yo, that shit looks so intense. I was like, nigga, I don't know if I'd have done good with that. But that was the opposite. But I could have been a part of history. Or when I was younger, my dad got me a car. He got me a car a few times, but I wasn't driving yet, and I had so much anxiety. I wasn't the most confident guy. But one of the reasons why I didn't want the car was because my dad was giving it to me, and my logic on it was I didn't want my dad to be able to say anything to me. And mind you, you gotta think, have a nice car. Sometimes your dad just gives you a few rules. I think my dad just said, don't let no girls drive the car, and if I need your help with something, come help me. You know what I'm saying? That was the only part of the deal. But at the time, again, you being more emotional and everything, because in my mind, I'm a young man. I'm 18 and everything. I'm out here fucking like mad big girls. Okay, shout out to the big girls. I never forget where I came from. I'm not Big Shorty down. If she cool, if she okay with it, I'm not Big Shorty down. But you gotta come straight to the house. Okay, I'll be home. Okay, I'll come straight to the house. But real quick, let's go ahead now. Now, mind you, so to her first point, this is not the most important thing, but I just want to make sure that I point this out real quick. So I had to bring this video up. So her commentary was, "What's with these older men wanting to date young women?" Right? Just last week, and it's what I'm
Black
talking about,
women love gay old white men.
and it's what we be talking about. Y'all be going so hard to throw subliminals at people and not being direct about what story you're telling. So more than likely, what happened was one of the guys that was sponsoring her cut her off because he wouldn't allow her to do what she wants to do. That he wouldn't allow her to play him. Because for the most part, what's happening is you have a new generation of women that don't understand the game, mostly because they're in the game with no male guidance and you don't know when to stop, and you get to a point where you cannot even have a relationship in the end, because at some point you're going to try, because you can't do the young girl thing forever. You know what I mean? One of the most pathetic things is seeing a woman past her prime still trying to be in the mix. The difference with men is, and this situation proves older men are always in demand. It looks as though